This morning we entered the island of Sombrero Chino, known as Chinese hat in English, because, well, it kind of looks like a Chinese hat. It was created by volcanic activity, and some of the lava tunnels are still visible today in between the rocks. Although this one is just about 20 centimeters wide, we've been told that there are lava tunnels large enough to walk through. And on one of the next excursions, we have the chance to go into one ourselves.
Although the landscape is very barren, it's teeming with life. Bjorn is running around taking photos of everything. We have to be careful where we step, because the lava lizards are everywhere.
We're kind of getting used to the lightfoot crabs and marine iguanas, but that doesn't make them less amazing. It's so special to take photos here. It may be the only place we've ever been to where you can get close enough to the wildlife without wanting more reach on the camera.
The fun doesn't stop on land. We're now going to do some deep water snorkeling from the dinghies right across from Sombrero Chino. We've been told that the Galápagos Islands are as much to be experienced underwater as above. Sombrero Chino is apparently one of the best places for snorkeling, with opportunities to see sharks, turtles, and even penguins. It's our first deep water snorkeling here, but so far we haven't seen that much. There's plenty of beautiful fish, but no sea lion biting your flippers kind of experience. Maybe we started with the best. But it's still awesome, and we hope our luck will turn because we really want to see sharks and turtles on this trip.
The next island today is Rábida. The black rock has been replaced with red sand and the barren landscape swapped for a lot more vegetation, but it's still very dry and desert-like. The natural environment that had its fair share of challenges here with invasive species. Goats had to be eradicated from the island in 1971, and invasive rodents were removed in 2011. Thankfully, people are getting more and more aware of the impact human activity has on the islands and take measures to preserve the natural environment. After a short hike, we're back down again on the beach, ready to jump in the water for our second round of snorkeling today. Just a few minutes after getting into the water and one of our wishes came true. A sea turtle!
Coming back on shore, the dinghies were starting to bring people back to the ship, but we got to stay a bit longer for a surprising experience. First, we thought we saw a pelican catching fish, something we had hoped to capture for a long time. But then we realized that it actually caught a rock, something we seemed to have realized before it did. Eventually it figured it out and flew away, and just as that happened, it was time for us to go back on the ship and sail away too.
We sailed to Santiago Island this morning and we went ashore in Puerto Egas. This was a really nice place. We got to see fur seals for the first time alongside the sea lions, which look really similar, and a whole lot of marine iguanas and crabs. But then we went into the water snorkeling and the most amazing thing happened. We went snorkeling with a white-tip reef shark as well as a sea turtle. That was just such an amazing and at the same time weird experience. And now we've sailed a little bit further and we're going to go into the water again and hopefully see even more of that.
So let's have a look at all of that and cue the music. We haven't said too much about the Sally lightfoot crabs, but they're pretty awesome, so let's give them an introduction, starting with the obvious, namely, the name. Nobody knows for sure how they got their name, but the most common explanation is also the most interesting. There was a dancer in the Caribbean called Sally Lightfoot, known for, dancing light-footed, and wearing a red and orange dress. As these crabs run swiftly and light-footed across the lava rocks, in their very distinct red and orange colors, the name seems fitting. The crabs are basically everywhere, and if you go to the Galápagos Islands without one of these little creatures putting a smile on your face, then you're doing something wrong. As you can see here, they're usually around marine iguanas. The reason for this is that they live in symbiosis. The iguanas get exfoliated by the crabs, and the crabs eat the dead skin. It's a win-win for everyone. Well, unless you're watching this while eating. Dead marine iguana skin, yummy! The crabs are black when they're young, and transform into the very distinct red and orange colors when they grow older. The marine iguanas get their name because they spend a lot of time underwater, eating seagrass. Yes, these dragon-like creatures are actually vegetarian. Sally lightfoot crabs, marine iguanas, and sea lions are in abundance all across the Galápagos Islands. But here in Puerto Egas, there is something a bit more rare: fur seals. Fur seals may look very similar to sea lions, but they're actually a distinct species. Most noticeably, the fur seals are smaller than sea lions, have bigger eyes, thicker pelts, and their ears tend to stick out more to the sides, which is actually the opposite of most other seals. With that being said, we'll be honest and say we really struggle to tell them apart.
Hiking done and time for snorkeling. As if on cue, a sea turtle showed up and did not mind us at all. As we were watching the sea turtle, we noticed something moving in the corner of our eyes. A white-tip reef shark. To our amazement, we got the shark and the turtle in the same shot. As mentioned before, it's now time to get back on the ship and go to Caleta Bucanero for more snorkeling. We've just arrived and have discovered that boobies are fishing here. They fly high up in the air and then nose dive into the water. Their nostrils are pointing backwards so that they don't get water flushed into the beak when diving. And after diving, they fly up again and keep diving into the water again and again. I guess it's time for us to get wet too. It is deeper and the water is clearer here. So many species of fish. And deep down below us, we can see the outline of a shark. A lot of people are afraid of sharks, but reef sharks like these are rather friendly and not dangerous unless they're feeling threatened. Sharks are also a great indicator of a healthy reef, so this is a good sign. The sharks are coming closer and closer. They're just a few meters away from us now, but we're not going to follow them into that dark hole down there. Today is the earliest morning so far. Half the passengers are returning to the mainland, so we have to get up before sunrise for a morning excursion to North Seymour Island. We've barely set a foot on land and are already greeted by plenty of frigate birds. The males have a throat pouch that is inflated and used for mating displays. It looks absurd. Frigate birds are also some of the more untraditional hunters around here. They cannot land on water, so they either snatch their prey from the ocean surface or steal it from others. In particular, red-footed boobies are victims of this. Frigate birds will harass them until they drop their catch mid-air, then the frigate birds dive down and catch the food before it hits the water. Thankfully, this only makes up on average 5% of the food they eat, so the boobies get some food to themselves. Next up, we have sea lions, a very common sight by now, but a suckling cub is certainly a first. They look relaxed, life as a sea lion seems pretty laid back. Right after, we also see our first land iguana. This island is also home to nesting boobies. Boobies got their name from their feet. Booby, or bobo in Spanish, means stupid or foolish, and due to the large feet, the boobies look kind of clumsy and stupid when they walk. Oh, and how often do you get to say this? My favorite experience on our honeymoon was sitting next to my wife watching boobies bounce on the beach. While the others are disembarking the ship, we have a few hours on Baltra Island to snorkel and enjoy the sun. Apparently this is restricted, but our guides got permission from the Coast Guard. What?